The Green Team, Teen Trillionaires, number 5, written by Art Baltazar and Franco, art by Ig Guara. So, last issue was kind of the wrap up of the first plot of this book, but it ended with Riot, who is actually Commodore's father, being kind of torn apart by the suits and all the nanites in them. This issue picks up with the Green Team and a rocket ship going to space. And Commodore apparently has not really told anybody what's going on. It's all been kind of secretive, but we do know that we're on a meteor, or we're going to a meteor, that is owned by a place called the Belichick Temple. And Mo is asking around like, hey, are we licensed to fly a rocket ship? And the sister chimes in and like, oh yeah, they went to space camp. It was licensed by NASA. We're good. So at this point, Commodore's explaining, okay, I don't know how my suit moves like that. I have no idea what's going on, and I'm not able to control it as well as I'd like to. Also, Cecilia, her arm, it's off. She didn't seem to suffer any like trauma or anything. There's not even blood. It's just kind of gone. But like, I can get her a new arm. I can get her a prosthetic. Cecilia, I'll get you a new prosthetic. And she's like, no. You ain't touching my arm again. I don't want anything touching this again. I'll take a stump. Thank you very much. So everything goes quiet for a minute, until finally they see the meteor approaching, and Houston is just like, you know what, screw this, call me when we get there. And he makes his way back and says, I'm going swimming. And immediately they're like, wait, what? And so Mo goes back to check what in the hell he meant, and turns out that they have somehow in 0G a swimming pool. And they explain it all with like, oh, there's stasis rods and stuff like that, blah, blah, blah. But there's a swimming pool on the ship. And Houston and Commodore start shouting at each other. And basically Houston's just pissed off because we're doing all this stuff, but Houston believes that Commodore is only doing it for fame and money purposes. He's not doing it to like help Cecilia out, despite the fact she's clearly going through a hard time. And so Commodore finally explains more of like, okay, look, the whole reason we're going there is because I think my father was working with the guy who runs the Belichick company, and the original like prototype suits of armor are on this meteor because that's where he holds a lot of his tech stuff. So it's not on Earth and can't be like gotten to. So we're going to go up there. We're going to check it out. Also, I think that he plans on stripping this meteor of all of its resources and then firing them back down to Earth and getting ultra uber wealthy off of that. So yeah, all that's going on. And then Houston calls him out saying like, none of that has anything to do with Cecilia. None of that at all. What's going on? And then Mo points out that there's a bunch of ice buildup on the outside of the ship, and that's not usual. So they need to very quickly get back up to the cockpit. They explain that they're unable to adjust the controls of the ship, so they're going to end up crashing. And Commodore's like, yeah, no, it's a crash, but don't worry about it. But before we can even finish out, Mo is just confessing everything. He's telling his bodyguard, like, I'm the one who's been sabotaging your attempts to talk to my father. Oh, and, what was her name? LL. I think it's Lena. I could be wrong. It says, LL, before we crash, I've always wanted to tell you. And then they, like, hit the planet, or hit the meteor, but because they're still so light in terms of 0G, they just kind of like bounce a little bit and come to a nice stop. And Commodore's like, see, I told you, nothing to worry about. We were always going to be fine. And so LL and the bodyguard start talking about me like, so what was that all about? And he's like, nice weather today, isn't it? So at that point, he looks over some computer monitors, Commodore in Houston, and they realize that they're going to strip the meteor as he predicted, but they're then going to crash the meteor into Earth on purpose, and it's a big enough meteor that that's actually a real big problem. So at that point, the monitors all freeze up, and we see that protecting this meteor on the paycheck of Belichick is Icicle. He's here, and he's like, well, I didn't think anyone would actually be able to make it up here, but now I got to earn a paycheck. So he's about ready to start fighting against all of them. And they ask like, oh, where's the rest of Belichick's team? He's like, don't worry about it. It's just me right now. I'm going to make a ton of money. And Commodore calls him out for like, oh, what Belichick's doing is wrong and immoral. He's just like, dude, you're a trillionaire. That doesn't happen without you breaking the rules a few times. Like, clearly you're also in the wrong, but maybe I'm missing something. So at that point, we see the bodyguard gets a fire extinguisher and like aims it at Icicle enough for them to get back onto the ship. But Commodore's then like, okay, no, but we have to fight him. We have to stop them from crashing the meteor onto Earth. So I'm gonna focus. Just tell me when he's about to attack us in the ship. And he pulls up his suit, and then all of a sudden he fires off an ice blast. They warn Commodore, and he's able to use the nanites in his suit to communicate with the ship to get it to dodge out of the way. And it's like, holy crap, you can do that? And he's like, yeah, it's just adrenaline. I'm concentrating. I can make it work. So tell me when he's about to fire again. And he said, well, okay, well, he's going to be expecting that the second time, so you better do something interesting. And so he's about to fire again, and he ends up launching the ship into Icicle, where Icicle barely manages to dodge out of the way. So at that point, Commodore says, yeah, I'm going to give you guys a chance to escape. Start boating up the ship. I'll catch up to you. Do not leave me behind. I will catch up to you, but start getting it off the ground. So he exits off the ship. He starts fighting against Icicle. Icicle immediately is just like, dude, you're out of your league. You don't even know how to work that suit. I've been using my powers for decades. So he immediately freezes Commodore's suit. He's unable to like move or do anything. He even separates the fingertips from the suit itself, so that way he's unable to interact with it. And he's like, yeah, no, you're stuck. There's nothing you can even do here. So while you're stuck, I'm going to destroy your ship. So while you watch. So he makes his way over the ship, starts tearing it apart piece by piece. And as we see all the crew members inside, all the green team, they start evacuating the ship. Houston decides to stay behind in order to give him a fighting chance. He throws down the extra suit that Cecilia can wear down to Cecilia and gives her a big kiss as they say goodbye. And Mo sees the kiss, so obviously that secret's out. So the rest of the crew seems like it managed to get off the ship except for Houston, as Icicle finally tears it completely limb from limb. And there seemingly are no survivors. I say seemingly a lot in there because obviously Houston's fine. Like, no duh. It would actually be very ballsy of them if they did kill him here, but it just feels like they have not done nearly enough to earn that. So, yeah, it's fine. It's an okay issue. It definitely feels like they had a 6-issue plan, and then they ended up having 8 issues of the book. And so they kind of had to pivot halfway through to add an additional 2 issues. And it doesn't, I don't know, like this issue just doesn't flow right from the rest of the book that I've read. It just feels like a hard turn. Like we're in space now and they just say, oh, and there's this other company that we've never mentioned before, but they're the real evil ones. It's like, okay, buddy, whatever you say. Yeah, it's not great. It's definitely, it has these ideas. It's just not delivering. I think that's my biggest problem. So I'm going to say this is just a flat 6. I'm not that entertained by it, but who knows? Maybe they'll wow me and they actually will have killed Houston. Or maybe, I don't know, they'll crash a meteor into Earth. Something, anything. Shake it up a little bit.